Hi, I'm Dora Chaudhary, representing Splash India.
Hi, I'm Dawit Alamshet, representing Splash Ethiopia.
Thank you so much for joining our very first virtual gala.
We wish we could celebrate with you in person, but the world has changed so much with COVID-19. Hopefully we'll see you next year.
We'd like to start with a brief overview of the week's content and events. Tonight, you'll be hearing from Splash's founder and executive director, Eric Stowe, on the origin of Splash and plans for the future. You'll also hear from Deputy Director Kara Yule on our bold new initiative to reach 1 million kids with clean water, hygiene education, sanitation, and menstrual health solutions. We'll close the night with a live toast, so get your cocktails or mocktails ready.
Tomorrow, I'll be speaking about Splash work in Ethiopia and our support of the government's COVID-19 response in schools and hospitals. We'll also share a new short video that will help you see our work in action. On Thursday, we'll hear from our menstrual health program leaders from the US, India, and Ethiopia on a panel moderated by our board member, Michelle Fricks. Friday will be the final day of the gala. We hope you'll tune in for our 2020 Donor Award ceremony, prizes for our virtual gala fundraising champions, and a closing message: thank you from Splash leadership for supporting our work.
But before we dive into tonight's program, I'd like to take a brief moment to acknowledge our amazing sponsors. Antinous is a celebration sponsor and has been a critical partner since 2007 when we first started to ramp up our work in China. They manufacture the water filtration systems we use in all of our projects, and the company has been actively engaged with Splash on many levels. In 2019, they inaugurated a joint venture in India that directly supplies our program in Kolkata. Mir is a Catalyst sponsor and has been a valued partner since 2015. Based in Seattle, they have donated over $250,000 to Splash over a 5-year partnership. Through their B Corporation, they not only support Splash, but also fund a variety of other amazing social impact projects, both locally and globally. NodeBlue and Acumatica are our sustaining sponsors. NodeBlue is our web development agency, and Acumatica is our ERP solution partner. We are thrilled to highlight these partners as gala sponsors. Thank you all so much. We are grateful for your support and continuing partnership. Thank you.
Last but not least, we want to thank all of our fundraisers. We couldn't make this virtual gala success without you, truly. All right, I think we are ready to begin. We are going to start with a brief video featuring members of our global staff. We hope you find this as fun and funny. As we do, let's go start it.
Hello? Calling all hygiene heroes. I need your help to kick off the Just Add Water virtual gala. Thanks for answering my call, hygiene heroes. We really want people to know what Splash is about, so who's better to explain than this global team? All right, first question. Who is Splash?
We are.
We are.
What does Splash do?
Wash.
Wash.
Can someone help me break down the WASH acronym?
Water.
Sanitation.
And hygiene.
Plus, we now also work in menstrual health. You could call it Wash Plus.
How many people in the world lack access to safe water?
Some say less than 1 billion, but we say approximately 2.1 billion to account for not only improved access, but safe and reliable access.
Wow. What about sanitation?
4.2 billion. In fact,
More people in the world have access to mobile phones than reliable access to sanitation facilities.
And why does Splash focus on urban areas?
The world's population is moving toward the urban, to large cities, and that's where our current focus is.
Why do we focus on children?
Kids are disproportionately impacted by the global water crisis. Studies show that over 90% of water-related deaths are children in use.
Okay, what are Splash's values?
People first, people second.
People third.
Quality product that function last.
Honesty, no drama, no surprises, no BS.
Joy, kids at heart, see potential everywhere.
Mistakes, make them, but don't repeat them.
Can someone please tell me more about our most recent initiative, Project Wise?
Project WISE stands for Wash in the Schools for Everyone. This initiative will reach 100% of government schools in Kolkata, India, and Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with improved water, sanitation and hygiene infrastructures, behavior change programs, and strengthened menstrual health services for girls.
And how many kids will it reach?
1 million.
1 million.
1 million.
All right, so we all know that we have to wash our hands with soap for a minimum of 20 seconds. Who has a favorite song that they like to wash their hands to? Okay, hygiene heroes, the last and most important question. Who makes all of our work possible?
You.
You.
You. You.
You.
You.
You.
That's right. You, the Splash community, make all of our work possible. We are so excited to be kicking off the Just Add Water virtual gala and hope you'll tune in daily to view our program content.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric Stowe, founder and executive director at Splash. This is the first time in 8 weeks I've been back to our office. It's probably just as many weeks since I last wore a button-up shirt, truth be told. I want to start by just saying I miss my colleagues. I miss the engagement, the interaction, the collaborative collisions that we have. And I want to extend my deep appreciation and love for them and to their families during this time. Second, I want to say thank you to you for attending this virtual gala. We know these are uncommon times and this is an uncommon means to try and further create this community around Splash. So what I thought we would do first is maybe tell you a little bit about who Splash is, what we do, what we're about, and how we started. And to do that, I want to take you back to China 15 years ago. What feels like a lifetime ago. I used to work in international adoption, which meant I spent a lot of time in a lot of orphanages across a lot of countries. And I saw that there were two main problems facing most of those orphanages. A lack of clean water for the kids under their care, and a lack of adequate training for the caregivers. Now, I am no caregiving expert, but clean water was something that I felt we could tackle. While I would spend the day in an orphanage, I would spend the nights in hotels or going to restaurants with the adoptive families. And it was amazing the disparity, especially around clean water. That in hotels and restaurants around most of the world, they can provide clean and safe water to paying customers, yet in most of the orphanages, the same was not true. And often these were in the same city, sometimes even just a few blocks away from one another. Multinational food chains have figured out the world over how to provide potable water to their paying customers. Places like Starbucks and Burger King, McDonald's. Actually, McDonald's was part of the solution. I was able to convince an employee late at night to allow me back into their kitchen to understand what kind of filtration technology they were using. At that time, I came up with a company called Antunis out of Chicago. Wrote down the serial number, wrote down the contact information, got back home, and reached out to them. And we've had a flourishing relationship ever since. I did that work for a number of years until deciding to start my own company, Splash, in 2007. For the first few years, I was the only employee at Splash. Everything else was volunteer basis. At that time, everyone was required to bring 2 pieces of luggage on every trip. They were weighted at 72 pounds, it was military grade plastic, and it was full of filtration equipment. It was terribly inefficient and totally inappropriate. But in those first few lean years, that's what it required towards this much larger goal of providing clean water in every orphanage in China. Flash forward 10 years later in 2017, and we've actually achieved that huge milestone, reaching all 1,100 orphanages across 32 provinces and nearly 1,000 cities, from Shanghai to Xinjiang, from Tibet to Inner Mongolia. This was our first proof point that we could actually scale these clean water initiatives broadly for the most vulnerable populations. During those first years, Splash was able to grow our budget, our staff, and our footprint, going from 2 to 4, 4 to 6, and 6 to 8 countries. And alongside that growth, we also expanded our services. We built our program to go way beyond clean water. Splash now has an awesome behavior change program teaching kids to wash their hands with soap and encouraging other hygienic behaviors. We've also taken on sanitation, the rehabilitation or construction of toilet blocks to make sure kids can go to the bathroom with dignity while they're at school. And now we're tackling menstrual health with a goal to design a best-in-class solution to help girls succeed in school and beyond. It has been a wild ride, and I'm so thankful to all the staff and donors who have been with us all these years to make this growth possible. As I look to the future, I truly do see Splash being one of the global leaders in WASH, but we'll get back to that vision in a minute. First, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Kara to say a few words about our newest initiative, Project WISE.
Hi everyone, I'm Kara Ewell, the Deputy Director of Project WISE at Splash. I have had the pleasure and privilege of working alongside the always fun and ever talented, and sometimes crazy, Global Splash team for the past 5.5 years. Immediately prior to joining Splash, I was living and working in West Africa. Lucky for me, Splash was willing to offer me a job before ever meeting me in person and before I ever stepped foot inside of a Splash office. All of my interviews and discussions were over Skype and email. At the time, a virtual hiring process felt highly unusual, but in this strange time of COVID-19, virtual everything has become the norm, including this, my first ever virtual gala. Splash has evolved and grown quite a bit since I joined the organization in 2014. As we got closer and closer to reaching our big goal in China, we kept looking ahead. What's next? After careful deliberation, planning, and lots of conversations with donors, we came up with a concept for Project WISE. What if we could reach every school in 2 of the world's key growth cities with comprehensive water, sanitation, hygiene, and menstrual health services? Thus was born Project WISE, an acronym which stands for Wash in Schools for Everyone. We were fortunate to secure a large grant from the Children's Investment Fund Foundation, the anchor investor, and other donors were also quick to step up and support this $45 million project. Project WISE launched last year with the aim of serving more than 1 million kids, across 1,800 schools in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and Kolkata, India, over the next 5 years. An independent research firm will evaluate the impact of Project WISE at the end of the 5 years, giving us an extraordinary amount of data about the impact of school WASH programs on the health, attendance, and well-being of girls and boys. In partnership with local government and under the leadership of our incredible local teams, Project WISE is truly a groundbreaking initiative. By the end of 2023, we expect every school in these 2 cities to have safe drinking water, quality hand washing stations and toilets, and engaging programs to change kids' habits and expectations related to hand washing and personal hygiene, including menstruation. I love working with my colleagues in Kolkata and Addis. Above all, I am deeply inspired by their personal commitments to each kid that we serve. While it is easy for me to get swept up into project work plans, budgets, many late night Zoom calls, It is all worthwhile when I get to see the impact of Splash's work. I'll tell you that nothing beats walking onto a school campus and seeing our bright orange hand washing stations or hearing kids sing the Splash hygiene song. While it may be a little while before I myself am able to get on a plane again and travel to visit one of these cities, Splash's work will continue thanks to the tireless efforts and dedication of our teams on the ground. Thank you all so very much for your support. We can't wait to continue to share the good news about Project WISE with you over the coming years. And now I'll turn it back to Eric for some final words.
Thanks, Kara, that was great. I want to welcome you to the other Splash office. It also doubles as my treadmill room off my garage. Making the best with what we got, right? So Project WISE, it's a big deal. It's a 5-year, $45 million project. Is certainly the most ambitious that Splash has ever undertaken. But we believe that proving out a cost-effective and scalable solution that we can show to governments and NGOs that 100% wash coverage is possible, it's achievable, and it's affordable. The project started in 2019, and as you know, is slated to serve nearly 2,000 schools and over 1 million students by 2023. We were able to secure some big investments early on, $19 million from the Children's Investment Fund, a matching $8 million from the Addis Ababa city government, and multiple commitments from some of our most trusted partners like Charity Water, All Will Lead Philanthropies, the Hilton Foundation, and then we had several new partners join as well. And then, as you all know, COVID-19 happened. What first seemed as an outbreak localized in China quickly became a global pandemic that has now affected over 3 million people and indirectly the entire planet. And one of the communities hardest hit by this pandemic are students. There's currently more than 1.5 billion students out of school. The kind of stress and strain this puts on cultures, on societies, on economies is unprecedented. And with schools closed around the world, because there's no country that's exempt, that means it also includes Ethiopia and India. And we've had to really take stock to see how we could best position ourselves both in the immediate term as a response and in the long term as a sustainable and durable wash organization. One of the things we keep coming back to is hand washing with soap. And it's one of the single best public health interventions the world has ever known. And it's one of the critical key components to stopping the spread of the virus. Long underemphasized and under-resourced, the H in wash is finally having its moment in the spotlight. Splash's program already has a heavy emphasis on hand washing, both through the innovative hand washing stations we install in schools, and also through the behavior change work we do with students and teachers to make sure kids are encouraged and motivated to wash their hands with soap. In fact, in the last few weeks, we've seen a huge increase in inquiries from companies, from NGOs and governments for these hand washing stations. We've recently secured funding to modify the stations that we designed for use in urban schools so that they can be used in rural schools, rural healthcare facilities, and community centers. As I look to the future, I simply can't see how any healthcare facility or school can reopen without a hand washing station. And yet, that is the unfortunate reality. So what can we do together? Well, tomorrow you're going to hear from our Ethiopia country director about how we are deploying our hygiene intervention at quarantine sites and at hospitals in partnership with the Ethiopian government. We've launched a 12-month project to produce new hand washing stations that can deploy wherever they're most needed. We're tightening our program designs, we're strengthening our IT infrastructure, we're reconfiguring our implementation designs to account for COVID delays. We're working with contractors to ensure they have the proper safety policies to keep their workers safe, while we continue to do wash infrastructure projects at schools, even while they're closed. In short, we're ready. What we need from you is the flexible funding to help us get through this current crisis and also be able to move swiftly in the months ahead. Like these kids, but faster. So whether you've been supporters of Splash for over a decade, or maybe you just met us tonight, or somewhere in between, thank you for being a part of the Splash family.